All right, so this week, whoever's jacket that is, pick it up. This ain't your room. This week, or sorry, not this week, today we're talking about multiplying by multiples of 10. Circle that word, multiples. Circle that word, multiples. We've talked about that word, multiples, before. Does anyone remember what multiples means? We've talked about that word before, Rylan?
It means more than just one.
Yeah? Yep, multiples. If you have multiple of something, you have more than one. What else do we remember? I'm writing, you're writing, about that word multiples. Huxley? So doubles was one way that we could be thinking about multiples. Gio?
Copy.
Not copy. When we're talking about multiples, we're talking about skip counts. We should know how to skip count by 10. We should know how to count by more than 110. Evelyn? Yeah, sure. So we're going to be multiplying by more than 110. What's an example of more than 110? What does that mean? You will get a regular chair if you can't stop spinning. Gia? 200 is more than 110. It's a skip count of 10. Can you think of another multiple of 10? Tegan? 20 is a skip count of 10. Carl? 40 is a skip count of 10. Kaden? 50 is a skip count of 10. Heidi? 60 is a multiple of 10. So today we're multiplying by all those numbers you just listed. Good? Alright, so let's look at this problem. Because I find that it makes a lot more sense when we put a story to it. So there are 4 stacks of books on a table. Can you imagine that? Each stack has 20 books. It's just like going to the library and stacking all y'all's books up there. How many books are there in all? What am I counting? Raise your hand and tell me. I should see every single hand because we know how to find our unit. Come on. Get out, John. Land back. Mackenzie, what am I counting? No, I am not counting stacks of books. What am I counting? Bryson?
Books.
I'm just counting books, not stacks of books. Those are 2 different things. Does that make sense, Mackenzie? How many books? Answer sentence. Write one. Bryson already told us our unit. Blank books should be in our sentence. Zach, what could our sentence be?
She has blank books.
Sure. Do you have any version of that? As long as you've got the blank books, we're good. So far, so good? Let's make a bar model. Carl, what's the thing I'm counting again? Books. Do I know the total amount of books? No, I don't. I don't know the whole. I don't know my total. But I know some stuff. Colby, what's something that I do know?
There's 4 stacks of 20, so you'd have to do like 4 columns of 20.
Okay, Colby says I'm going to break this up into 4 columns or 4 boxes. Colby, why did you break it into 4?
Because there's 4 stacks of 20.
Yeah, those boxes are my 4 stacks. Now you're saying of 20. Where's that of 20 going? You keep going, Colby. Say it again.
In the boxes.
Yeah, so 20 in this stack, 20 in this stack, 20 in this stack, 20 in this stack. Rylan? Hang on to that thought, because that's what we're talking about today. So far, so good? This should not be any different. What equation matches that model? What equation matches that model? Jalen?
4 times 20.
In English?
4 groups of 20.
Beautiful. I've got an equation. How am I going to solve that? Because we have talked about 4s, so I could use my 4 strategies. But 20? Yikes, that's big. Could I draw those dots? Yes. But let's get away from that. Work a little smarter, not as hard as making 4 groups of 20 dots. Mathematically, you can. But what else could I do instead of 4 groups of 20? Because that's a lot of dots to draw. Rylan?
Instead, could do 10.
What do you mean by that?
So, if you have all your 20s, you can make it because all the 20s you do 10, 10, 10.
Okay, so Rylan said, you know what? I could break that 20 into 2 10s.
And then they're all 10s, because then you can go 10, 20.
Okay, so now I have 4 groups of 10. Let's write that down. Plus another 4 groups of 10. Sure, we could definitely do that, John. You're writing. Because we know our 10s as using those friendly numbers. Love that strategy. Heidi?
So you can use your 2s actually.
What do you mean by that?
So it's 20 is basically just 2. It's just 10. So you can go 2, 4, 6.
20 is 2.
Kind of. That's not really just only 2.
Keep going.
But you're like, it's just going like 2, 4, 6, 8. And then you just add, you just add 8, 0.
What's 8 plus 0?
I mean, like you just, like make it 80.
You have the right thoughts. The words are just not right.
Okay.
We're going to talk about that. Keep that in the back of your head. Heidi's starting to notice a pattern that we might be able to do. But I know we know how to do this. What's 4 groups of 10? Everyone. Absolutely not. 4 groups of 10 is never going to end in a 5. Try again. 4 groups of 10. 40. Holy moly. Plus another 4 groups of 10. 40 plus 40 is worth? 80. So we know 4 groups of 20 is worth 80.
Is that the answer?
That is our total. That's our total number of books.
That's a lot.
That is a lot of books. 4 stacks of 20 is kind of a lot of books.
You know, imagine how long it'll take up to clean all those books up.
Now, that was not so bad because 20s can easily be broken into 10s. But what if we have a larger multiple of 10? Let's try this one. If you need to be on the next page, you can. You can keep working on that page. Just draw a line and we'll keep going. It says Ming fills 6 gift bags with prizes. He puts 30 prizes in each bag. How many prizes does Ming use to fill the bags? How am I counting? I like that some of you are reading the problem again because the answer is definitely going to come from the word.
We're gonna write in sentence.
What are we counting? The same question we ask every single time. What are we counting? Mackenzie, I don't see you reading and I don't see your hand up, which is a problem because that's what I've asked you to do. Huxley, what am I counting? I'm counting prizes. What's my answer sentence? You got to write one. Macklin, what's my answer sentence? Love it. You can use the one Macklin came up with, or you can create your own as long as it's got blank prizes. All right, let's create our bar model. Let's start with our whole. Mackenzie, what am I counting again? Prizes. Does it tell me the total prizes? No. So once again, I don't know my total, but I know some things. I do know some things. What are some things that I know? What do I know? Huxley?
There's 6 gift bags.
How do I show that? We do know there are 6 gift bags, but how do I put that on my model? Yeah, I gotta have 6 boxes. These are all my little gift bags. I don't just write the number 6 because stuff goes in those gift bags. If I write the number 6, I'm not gonna be able to put stuff in it. What's going in those gift bags? Not a trick question. Ariana? 30 prizes. Put 30 prizes in each one. Sit up. What equation matches that model? What equation matches that model, Bryson? 6 groups of 30. How am I solving that? As fun as the 20s, because I can't break that into 2 10s. Caden? Okay. Maybe 5 and 1. So now I have 5 groups of 30. Ooh, that's still a lot of 30s. Theo, what do you think? Okay, so I still have 3 groups of 30. It's still a lot of 30s to count. Evelyn, what do you think? So maybe breaking the 30 into 20 and 10. So I have 6 groups of 20. and then 6 groups of 10. Okay? Think, Ariana. Okay. Let's try breaking our 6 up into 3 and 3, just because that gives me the smallest amount of 30s to count. Any of the ways you just said will mathematically work. I just chose to break that 6 into 3 and 3 because then I know I only have to count 3 groups of 30. And then I have to do that again. That's another 3 groups of 30. What is 3 groups of 30 worth? John? 90.
But probably we're going to add 2 90s.
We are going to have to add 2 90s together.
I think I know what it is.
What is 90 plus 90? I'd definitely do some break apart, throw a 10, make 100. Ooh, that made it a lot easier in our brain. Mackenzie? 180. Could I draw 6 groups of 30 dots?
No.
Could I? Yeah. But I would be drawing 180 dots. So that is really crazy. Next blank page. So now we're going to go back and kind of explore a pattern that Heidi brought up a little bit ago. Noticing a pattern is your title. Not while I'm teaching you, we've gone over this. Yeah, what you mean? Okay. Noticing a pattern. So Heidi noticed that 4 groups of 20, go ahead and write that again, 4 groups of 20. Heidi noticed the value of that was 80. And we just found out that 6 groups of 30, the value was 180. Heidi said, hey, that's really similar if instead of saying 20, I just think of it as 2. She said 4 groups of 2 equals 8. So it's really similar to 4 groups of 20. I wonder if that works for our other equation. What is 6 groups of 3 worth? Five groups of 3 plus 1 more. 6 groups of 3 worth. We're not just sitting there doing nothing. Not if I'm not convinced you're doing anything. 6 groups of 3. Zach? No. That would be 2 groups of 3. So try again. 6 groups of 3. What pattern are you noticing? What pattern are we noticing? Ariana, what are you noticing? Yeah, Kata, what are we noticing?
We're just like adding a 0 to the number and our 8 points.
Yes, but we are not going to say that because any number plus 0 is not going to get me from 8 to 80. Is it? 8 plus 0 is 80?
Well, that's what kindergarten would think.
Huh. So what's happening? Yes, I understand what you're saying, right? We're adding a 0 as in like plopping one on. But why? Why did that happen? Because 8 plus 0 is still 8, not 80. See it?
Like it just adding
Sorry, Tegan.
the 6 and the 3 make there's 2 numbers.
Mm-hmm.
And 4 times 2 is there's 1 number.
Okay, so we're multiplying only the first digit. That's important to notice. Evelyn?
What was the question?
Why does that happen?
Because you're still basically asking the same question. You're just taking away the 0. And you're just taking away the ones.
Okay, taking away the ones is better than taking away a 0 because 8 minus 0 or 80 minus 0 is still 80. You've got the right thoughts. We just got to get the right words. Rylan?
I just have something to say.
Okay.
So the reason why Happy was mentioning that is because if you have 8 and then you times it by 10, it equals 80.
Yep.
So basically you just have to times something by 10 and then it would have the 0 at the end.
There we go. We're counting tens. When you guys take this 2 from that 20, what place is it in?
The tens.
It's in the tens place. We're going to rewrite this equation. Instead of 4 groups of 20, I'm going to say 4 groups of 2 tens. Is 2 tens the same value as 20? Yes. Does that look the same?
No.
Nope, but same value, right? 20 is worth the same as 2 tens. Yes? Well, what's 4 times 2? Huxley? 8. So what am I counting by? What's 8 tens worth as a number? What's 8 tens worth as a number? Carl? 80. We are not just adding a 0. Please lose those words. Parents do it all the time. Other teachers do it all the time. But 8 plus 0 is not 80. You know that. You know that. We are not adding 0. We are counting tens. Let's try it on that next one. Instead of 6 groups of 30, I have 6 groups of what? I'm not going to write 6 groups of 30. I'm going to put it into an easier way for me to count. Jalen? 3 tens. 3 tens is 30. We just put it in an easier counting way. Because now I can do, well, 6 groups of 3. What's 6 groups of 3? As can see every single hand because it's written in your notebook and on my board, and you know how to multiply. Back. 18, but is it really 18? 18. No, we are not counting hundreds. Tens, 18 tens. 18 tens is worth how much? Think about it. Yeah? 180. 10 tens makes 100. You got 80 left over, or 8 tens left over, 80. Cool. That makes that a lot easier. Because what if I had 5 groups of 90? Oof. Oof. Write it down. 5 groups of 90. Well, let's use our language strategy. Instead of thinking 90 as 90, I'm going to think about it as 5 groups of something easier. Zach? 9 tens. Beautiful. Hey, all of a sudden that became a problem I can't pretty easily solve. What's 5 groups of 9? Every single hand should be up. You can use your fingers, you can use your clock. We ain't sitting there doing nothing. I'm not going over that strategy again. Colby, what is it? 45. But what are we counting here? What am I counting by? Tens. What is 45 tens worth? What is 45 tens worth? Tika? 450. Did you have to do any adding of 90 to figure that out? I don't want to add by 90. I want to work smarter, not harder. Could I add by 90? Could I say 90 plus 90 plus 90 plus 90 plus 90? Yes, I could. But I know that 90 is also equal to 9 tenths. Where math gets fun. I'm just going to trade out something that's equal, but is easier. I like equal but easier. Do you like equal but easier? No. No? You want to do harder? Go for it. Count by 90s. That's okay. Go for it.
I like easier.
I would rather switch it out for something that's easier for me to count by. So far, so good? Try it out. Give it a little bit of practice. We'll get there. A squiggle in your notebook. Write on the same page. If you really don't have space, you can go to the next page, but you should have space. I just want you to try these 2 problems. Use our tens language, which is practice, and solve 5 groups of 40 and 7 groups of 60. Once you solve them, you don't got to bring them to me to check. Once you solve them, you may transition into your math choice board, but take your time. Use what we've written down to help you. Put it in words, and then solve, just like we just did. That make sense?